The railing on the port side of the Admiral's Bridge on the back is on. Now on the front of the Admiral's Bridge, right at the top here, along the top, there's supposed to be a railing there too, but I think it's possibly going to be just a little bit too difficult to get in. And because of the angle, now I know you can see it, but you're kind of looking in on it, whereas most people will be looking sort of down on it, and it will be covered by this part right here. Yeah, I'm not going to attempt it. I think it's just going to be too difficult. However, we do need to put a railing right there. Obviously, the crew would fall off. Now, yesterday I took these dividers down into the workshop and I ground the points down just a little bit, and then I filed them, and then I tried to take off the rough burrs on the point with up to 1000 grit sandpaper. And the idea being is so that I can get a much more accurate measurement here. Before, the points were just way too rounded, and you could probably get a measurement within, I'm guessing, a couple of millimeters, but I want it to be, like much smaller than that, like half a millimeter or better. And I think right now I can do that. So if I want a railing to go from you can see the left one there on that wall, to about like that, I should be able to transfer that measurement now onto the railing itself. But I got to do something about this spring. It's just way too tight. Now, what I had thought I could do is if I was to have something like a pair of spreaders, like pliers, only that instead of squeezing it together, it pried it apart, and put it in here and spread this apart and stretch it. And I just don't have anything like that. I got lots of tools for squeezing stuff, but nothing for spreading stuff. And so I would have had to have made something up. And then I thought, well, you know what? Instead of this piece here being like, 3/4 of an inch or more thick, or rather, this way, why don't I take and grind this down so that the spring is instead of being this thick, maybe, I could try it about half as thick. Now, I do realize that when I'm grinding it, the heat is going to take the temper out of the spring, so I am going to have to be very careful that I don't, completely wreck it. Then I'll end up, trying to make something out of a bunch of elastic bands to hold this together. Anyway, but that won't be right now. Right now, let's see if we can transfer this distance somewhere here. Now, if I go equidistance on each side of the post, I'll use my photo etch bending tool here, or rather my photo etch cutting tool, to make a little mark. I should be able to see that all being well. And right here. Okay, now I'll just take my Tamiya nippers and nip that off. Does that look equidistance? Yeah, it looks not too bad. Now, looks like I may have made it just a little bit too small. Let's stick it on the ship and see what we got. Okay, I got my steady rest all set up here. Get this at the right angle. Something like that. And can I get it in there? Or do I have to readjust a little bit? I'm going to readjust, and I'm going to put the macro lens on so you can see what I'm doing here. That way my shakiness will be amplified about 100 times. Okay. No, don't go getting discouraged and click your fast forward button here. We do eventually get it. A lot faster than I did the other day. I think I drop it 2 more times, and I'll try and cut out some of the nonsense here. Not too bad. It could be just a little bit further forward. I wonder how it would be if I was to bend these rails that are on the right and left side of the post back a little. I'll just try that. How does that look? Maybe I could have bent these ones just a little more. Okay, let's give that a try. Now I know that by bending those I did actually shorten the overall length of the fence or railing. I wonder what would happen if I used my hobby knife here. The hobby knife idea did not work, and I'm sure that people were already clacking at their keyboards saying, use a wax pencil, use a wax pencil. Well, I don't have a wax pencil, but I do have this blue tack. There is another option here, and that is I could sort of upend the ship and lay this down on... Oh, I've almost had it. Don't anybody breathe. Okay, as we did before, I'm going to see if I can just get it to wick its way along the bottom. Oh! As you can see, I've got it back. And that thing that looks like a 1/4-inch dowel or something is actually a toothpick. I'm just using it to hold it down. Now, if I can just... There. I actually saw it wick along. And we'll let that cure, and it's not going to fall off. Okay, now carefully remove our toothpick. Does that seem to be stuck on there? Oh yeah. That's not going to fall off unless you hook something on it. and I don't see why that's going to happen. I'm just going to do the other side the same way. It will literally be a mirror image of this one, so I don't need to show it. But before I do that, let's go down in the workshop and see if we can't do something with that spring.
Ron, you're not wearing your proper safety glasses. If there's sawdust on the floor, those sparks could set it on fire. Okay, they didn't set your floor on fire, but they could go into that cardboard box and set it on fire. You're not holding the work properly against the stone.
Now, one more comment that Safety Sam forgot to mention, and that is that I had the light adjusted to the wheel on the left when I was using the wheel on the right. Yeah, these are noticeably easier to squeeze now. I'd like them just a little bit easier, but we'll just try it like this for a while, and I can always, go back down in the workshop and, yeah, it's not near as hard to turn this adjustment screw to close it up or open it. Yeah, well, I think this is going to be okay. I just have to be super careful that I don't stab myself with these because they're kind of sharp. Not as sharp as needles, but I did very slightly round them over with 1000 grit just to take the real sharp points off. Anyway, yeah. I've got the railing on the starboard side. And if we work our way down, I don't think there's any more railing that's needed on this one. So we're now down to this one here. There's a little narrow place on the back there. So we got to go from here around in behind this radar thing and this section right here. I'm guessing I can do it in, I would say I'm going to need to do at least 2 sections for the back section and this piece here, possibly 3. But I think we're going to leave that for tomorrow because it's getting on here today in Winnipeg. And yeah, so I'm satisfied with today. Thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.